Hi, thanks for joining me in the Listen Up Girl podcast. This is your podcast for LGBTQ plus news for Thursday, July the 30th. I'm Zach Randall-Friedman, your host, and we've got 7 stories for you today. A legal win worth celebrating, a doll that broke the internet for no good reason, and a fact check that Republicans really don't want you to read. So let's start with an anti-trans activist just learned what accountability looks like. So we're going to start in Australia with a story about consequences. Back in 2023, a woman named Kirralie Smith, CEO of an anti-LGBTQ plus organization called Binary Australia, posted photos of a trans soccer player named Riley Dennis and claimed Dennis had injured 2 cisgender women so badly that they were hospitalized. She wanted men to show up and confront her. Some did. Dennis said she feared for her safety, lost her spot in her league, and lived for months feeling like 1,000 eyes were on her. Here's the thing. None of it was true. Smith admitted in court she had no evidence. She couldn't say when it happened, where it happened, or who even the injured women were. A court found her guilty of unlawful vilification. She appealed, and she just lost that appeal. Smith now owes $95,000 in damages, and she and her organization have to publish a court-ordered apology and keep it pinned to their social media for 3 months. Dennis said her instinct was to curl up and let it pass. It didn't pass. It got worse, so she stood up instead. And now there's a legal record that says targeting trans athletes with lies isn't political speech, it's vilification, and it will cost you. So good for you for sticking up for yourself. Love that. Our next story is our conservatives are losing their minds over a paper doll. Now for one of the more absurd stories of this week. Researchers at the University of Minnesota developed a set of paper dolls designed to help kids understand gender in an age-appropriate way. Swappable features, no genitalia involved for most versions, built by actual development researchers. It's called My Gender Dolls, and it's been quietly available in some form since 2020. This week, conservative media discovered it, and the right lost their entire minds. A Minnesota Senate candidate posted a since viral video calling herself livid, claiming taxpayer money is being used to sexualize children through a doll aimed at 4 to 10-year-olds. Other accounts online are calling it grooming. Here's what it's actually true. It is a teaching tool for understanding gender diversity, not a mandate, not a classroom requirement, and not sexual in any way. But misinformation about a doll is apparently a whole national news cycle now. We'll take the win that even conservative outrage machines are running out of things to be outraged about. So they got to come up with this. After they move from the paper doll, they'll find something else to be outraged about. Believe me. Our next story is let's fact check cisgender Jimmy. So Texas State Representative James Talarico is running for Senate against Ken Paxton, and Paxton has spent months mocking him with the nickname cisgender Jimmy, with assistance from the orange convicted felon himself who posted it on social media. Here's what Talarico actually said. Back in 2021 committee hearing, he said, there are 6 biological sexes, not 6 genders, referring to documented intersex chromosomal variations, and he said it by arguing against a bill that would force kids into sports based on their birth certificate. Medical researchers actually documented over 30 distinct intersex variations, so if anything, Talarico understood the science. A fact check on this rate's claims half true. He did say 6, but he said 6 sexes, not genders, and that distinction really does matter. Talarico's response to the attacks has been blunt. Paxton has a criminal record. He has a legislative one. Paxton pleaded down to a guilty felony securities fraud with community service, about $300,000 in restitution. Just something to keep in mind the next time you see cisgender Jimmy trending. Who would you vote for? Not Paxton. Go Talarico. Next, Kaitlan Collins doesn't flinch. Quit palate cleanser. The orange convicted felon told a reporter to smile more this week. A real thing happened in 2026 somehow. When asked afterwards how she stops unflappable in the face of his insults, the reporter didn't hesitate. Her answer has 5 words, and it was perfect: composed, unbothered, and clearly not interested in performing. warmth for a man who doesn't deserve it. Sometimes the best response is to disrespect is just not absorbing it. Noted and appreciated. Next, PepsiCo is sued and details are ugly. A former PepsiCo employee filed a lawsuit this week alleging 2 years of anti-gay harassment that company allegedly did nothing to stop. According to the complaint, co-workers refused to work with her, told her she needed a deeper voice to talk to men, and said that they wouldn't share a restroom with her, using a slur while they said it. She reported it repeatedly to her manager, to HR, to the company hotline. She says nothing changed. Then she took family leave to care for her husband, came back to work without incident for about a month, and was fired right away after the new year where they claimed that she'd harassed someone else. Her lawsuit calls that justification false and retaliatory, filed under the Federal Civil Rights and Family Leave Law. PepsiCo doesn't respond in court yet, and none of this has been proven. But if all the allegations hold up, this is exactly the kind of we have a diversity statement, corporate hypocrisy our community is tired of watching play out in real time. I hope she wins this case. Next, a Care Bear is apparently trans now, and people are furious. A museum exhibit referencing one of the Care Bears as trans set off a full right-wing meltdown this week, with one organization calling it a blatant attempt to sexualize children's toys. A stuffed bear from the 1980s, that's the discourse we are having. We are not going to spend time on this one because it doesn't deserve it, but it's worth naming out loud how far the goalposts have moved. A children's toy referenced in a museum context is now cause for outrage. If that's where the opposition energy is going, we're doing just fine. And then something fun to end on. And because we like to leave you with something good, the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, dropped its new season this week on major streamer. It follows Penny Proud navigating middle school with her family. And yes, that includes 2 kids with adoptive gay dads voiced by Billy Porter and Zachary Quinto. This season adds even more queer voices behind the mic. If you need a show to put on TV tonight that will make you laugh instead of clench your jaw, then this is it. Go and watch it. So that's your news for today. A liar in Australia finally paying for it, a paper dog causing a national meltdown, and a cartoon giving us something to actually smile about today. If this episode gave you something, a little bit of information, a laugh, a little bit of hope, do me a favor and follow the show, leave a rating and review, and send it to someone who needs to hear it. I'll be back tomorrow with more LGBTQ+ news. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.